An extremely controversial topic in the scientific world. Some view the practice as a huge step forward in science, others claim it to be totally unfitting, wrong, and unethical. I'm sure you have your own thoughts on this intricate matter. Cloning. We know that years ago this became possible. Who doesn't recall the first cloning effort? Dolly the sheep, 1996. The news rocked and astounded the entire world. Amazement and fear consumed the people. It was a wholly controversial incident back then. The media greatly exploited the inherent fear in duplicating living beings. Time magazine featured two sheep on the cover with the headline, "There will one day be a clone of you." And the fear began to overrun people, worried that one day it might spiral out of control. The criticisms outweighed the approvals, yet an intense rivalry began in the scientific community for the practice to become normal. Over the years, many labs have claimed success in animal cloning. However, to settle public nerves, the World Ethics Committee has strictly forbidden the cloning of humans. But there are those who suggest that this practice has been carried out secretly, where billionaires seek out these companies to clone their children or deceased loved ones. But there's been no concrete confirmation that this actually happened, or even if human cloning is genuinely a possibility. The subject has also gained a lot of momentum in film. Several works of fiction have been created around the topic. Indeed, most of them demonstrate the disaster that would be human cloning. But over time, cloning has faded from the collective consciousness, which has become preoccupied with other scientific and technological innovations. With immense technological progress in gene editing, synthetic biology, and artificial intelligence, the fear of cloning seems innocent, a reminder of a simpler time. But though the topic has faded from the limelight, it doesn't mean the experiments and studies have stopped. Over the years, animal cloning has become a booming industry, and that's where the controversy lies. Stay tuned and the topic will surprise you. The most famous animal cloning companies are based in the United States, South Korea, and China. Being the first to be founded in South Korea, what caused the most controversy was also its owner. The founder, who started out cloning pigs and cows, was the first to conduct the experiment on dogs, and after testing on 123 female dogs, achieved the first success in 2007. According to him, he only started experimenting on dogs because a client approached him in desperation, having lost her dog and wanted a cloned copy. Since he was already cloning other animals for commercial purposes, he noticed a demand in cloning dogs and initiated this new business in Brazil. He also claimed to a renowned South Korean newspaper that he had successfully cloned a human embryo. The case caused a great buzz until investigations revealed that the claim was a fabricated lie. For this, he was sent to prison for 2 years. After he commenced with dog cloning procedures, other companies, foreseeing high potential and profit, began to create companies that focus solely on cloning dogs, and have been increasingly sought after by wealthy and often famous individuals who have lost their beloved pets and want a clone of them. The service is extremely expensive, which can cost up to $100,000. Many artists have admitted to cloning their dogs, either because of their deaths or simply because they want a clone of their pets. This has taken on a gigantic proportion of criticism in the media and in the social environment in general. While some seek this service to satisfy a personal desire, others, mainly animal advocates and people against the practice, have done everything to discredit such companies. They allege animal cruelty due to the way the procedure is performed and still believe that even though experiments are carried out on animals, the practice is still unethical. Some are in favor, but criticize the fact that it is an extremely costly procedure and is not accessible to everyone. But why do people allege animal cruelty? Stay with me in this video and I'll explain it to you. Scientists explain that the procedure was perfected and carried out through trial and error. There were more failures than successes. In this instance, the experiments on dogs are called somatic cell nuclear transfer. It starts with the egg of a donor dog. Utilizing a high-powered microscope, scientists drill a tiny hole in the egg and remove its nucleus, where the DNA is housed. They then replace the nucleus with a cell from the dog that's being cloned. Finally, this hybrid egg gets a brief electrical jolt that fuses its components together and starts cell division. Afterwards, the embryo is implanted into a different dog. The problem is that this procedure is extremely painful and stressful for the animal and sometimes needs to be carried out dozens of times before being successful. And that's not the end of it. Cloned puppies are more prone to disease and other problems, often born with enough issues that they can't develop, and are discarded like defective objects. The focus on cloning has re-emerged in the scientific community. There are ongoing projects intended to bring back extinct animals through cloning. The mammoth is one of them. Bring back extinct animals? I think Jurassic Park has sufficiently shown us that this doesn't turn out well, hasn't it? They also seek, through cloning, to increase the trade in animals for slaughter and other products, as well as to stimulate demand from people wanting to clone their pets. Scientists working in the field insist that cloning is not an unethical practice, and they say they tirelessly seek permission to carry out human cloning. Studies and research on the practice are rapidly increasing, demonstrating its feasibility. It can be carried out successfully. They argue that this could lead to research resulting in cures for diseases such as Alzheimer's and diabetes and many others. They could even create the same human being, but without the genetic problems they previously had. But of course, these are all just theories. In practice, we know that many things could potentially go wrong or get out of hand. The controversy grows and intensifies as cloning proponents become more expressive in the social sphere, asserting that cloning is a profound fear and that despite all the legal prohibitions, researchers believe it will not be long before a grieving family attempts to clone a lost child. Numerous online articles by acclaimed researchers and scientists in the field caused controversy by asserting that the pet cloning industry will indeed evolve into a human cloning industry. One of them went a bit far by saying, quote, "Imagine that a couple of billionaires lose a young child and they'll want another child as similar as possible. It's the human version of what happens to pets. If there is enough demand, the market will do everything to meet it." End quote. Comments like this only draw attention to how unethical the practice is. Anyway, even though opinions are completely divided, there is still demand, and cloning companies are making a lot of profit. And would you have the guts to clone a pet? Or are you totally against this practice? What about human cloning? Do you think it will ever really happen, or do you believe it has already happened? Thank you for staying with us until the end, and see you in the next video.